Check this out. I've synced Stripe to Google Sheets, so my transactions can now sync automatically. In this video, I'll show you how to sync Stripe with Google Sheets using Whalesync. Let's say you're working with a bookkeeper. You can now sync your transactions from Stripe into Google Sheets, and that way your bookkeeper can perform a monthly reconciliation without needing access to your Stripe account, which often has banking and other sensitive information. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm in Stripe and I'm in test mode. So this is all test data, which is very convenient. And here is my monthly reconciliation Google Sheet. Now I'm just gonna head on over to Whalesync, start new sync, Google Sheets. You can just copy the browser URL or copy the URL from here and input that there. Okay. Save. Go to Stripe, and now you do need to find your Stripe API key. So if you don't know how to do that, just click on this link here. The instructions are very straightforward. I'm going to copy mine from my test account, and you'll always want to copy your secret key, not your publishable key. Authorize, save, continue. And now I'm gonna do balance transaction and sheet one. Create table mappings. Create Whalesync ID columns. So you'll see it just created that Whalesync ID column. You don't want to move that around or change that. That is necessary for the sync to work. So click continue. And now it's already copied some fields from Stripe. So that's really convenient. If you don't see your fields, you can just go and create fields and then copy fields from here. And then check off the ones that you want to sync over. And for me, I think there's some in here that I don't necessarily need. So I'm just gonna do, ID, charge ID, net, created, status, I think that's okay. I don't need to know the type. Stripe record ID, and maybe I'll do, fee. So the Stripe fee. Net. Ooh, maybe I'll do net amount instead of net here. And then amount, I'll do gross amount, just so it's very clear what we're referring to. And I'll do available on as well. So, date. There you go, because that's really key. You want to see when the funds are available as well. And you will see here that I'm only able to sync over data from Stripe into Google Sheets. I can't sync over anything from Google Sheets into Stripe, and I obviously can't set up a two-way sync here either. That makes complete sense. Obviously, you don't want to override transactions in Stripe, and you don't want to sync over anything into Stripe that didn't actually happen in Stripe. So another thing here that you can do is create conditions. So, if you're just looking to sync over transactions from a certain date, for example, you can create that condition here. So like created is, after, the 1st of August, for example. I'm not going to do that in my case. Obviously, I don't need to. It's just test data, but just keep that in mind. You can, set up those filters and conditions to make sure you get the data that's relevant to you. And so now I'm going to click on Save and Continue. And some tables might have conflicting data. I'm just going to select Resolve. This is usually very easy to resolve. It literally takes seconds. Just scan records. And at this point, this is when you'll see if your sync is being set up correctly. So if you have filters in place or conditions in place and table mappings, you will see how many records would be synced over or will be synced over from Stripe into Google Sheets. So if you see that the number of records are way off, then maybe there's something wrong there, and you need to just go back and change your filters or table mappings or whatever it is. For me, that looks good. So I'm going to click continue, and confirm. And you can see all data conflicts resolved. Perfect. And now activate sync. Now it's just warning you that it will be creating a Whalesync ID in that Whalesync ID column. So again, you don't want to change that or move around the column. So click confirm, and now it's preparing to sync. So we'll just wait a couple of seconds. So the initial sync was completed, and now I activated the full sync. So it's just waiting for changes. If we go back into my Google Sheet, you can see those two test transactions were synced over here. The date that it's synced over is the date that the funds will actually be available on. The charge ID, gross amounts, Stripe fee, and net amount. You likely don't need, things like customer emails. Maybe you would want to sync over your a description, which I didn't do in my table mapping, but you can easily just select that field and make sure it's mapped over. Maybe you want to know where that those funds are coming from, especially if you offer multiple different products or services. And the Whalesync ID is here as well. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope this gave you a good understanding of how this all works. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do. There's a lot more you can sync over. There are other objects in Stripe that you can sync over as well, beyond just the balance transactions that I showed you. But this was just an example so that you have a good idea of how to get started and how to set this up yourself. So thanks for watching, and happy syncing.